Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video on Big Time. Today we're going to be talking about heroes and skill trees. So let's jump straight in and look at the different classes which are available. We have the Time Warrior. Now this is the strength hero, the tank in the fighting. You also have the Chronomancer. This is more of an AoE magic dealing ranged hero. So this is more of an intelligence based hero. We have the Shadow Blade, which is the ninja. This will be the agility hero that focuses on evasion. We also have the Quantum Fixer. This is the support class hero, the healer, which is technically in this group the carry, because every high level dungeon requires a good healer. You then have two additional classes, which is the Tech Blade and the Battlemancer, and these are a combination. So you have the Time Warrior and the Chronomancer, and you have the Shadow Blade and the Quantum Fixer, and they're basically two additional blends of those four initial core concepts. And you can see the characters here are personified in watches, because this whole game evolves around the concept of time, and it is about watches. The watches that you equip will have the traits of that character. So if you have the Time Warrior pocket watch, you have the Time Warrior traits. The watches can also have cogs attached to them, which can expand on their skills, and we'll talk about that later. But you can see here we have the icon for the Time Warrior, the Chronomancer, the Shadow Blade, and the Quantum Fixer. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just jump straight into the game. Here I'm at Time's End. If I spin around, you'll see I've just arrived. And I'm heading up towards Watertown. Now, I'm going to be using this character to get there, but I'm going to show you how you can choose your character at this point. So if we head up towards this tall spike here in the middle, you'll see the marketplace in front of us. The marketplace is this circular building, because all the way around it here are the droids where you can buy and sell. So we're going to go to the right hand side of this, and you'll see a path, and we can follow this path going west. It'll be northwest and then west, and we're going to go behind this rock on the left hand side. This cliff face here, behind it are going to be some droids that are going to give us the ability, here they are, to pick up those classes that we first talked about. So starting on the end here, we can see this is the icon for the Time Warrior. And if I go ahead and press E, it's going to give me a starter watch and a bunch of starting items. I can now go into my inventory. I can change my timeline on the left hand side, and I can choose this Time Warrior starter watch. This is now going to switch this watch. We can see all of our stats and abilities, and I'll talk about those in a moment. But if I come back to my inventory, you can now see all of this starter gear. So let's just talk about this. This is all junk gear. It doesn't really have a lot in terms of stats, but we can apply it by right-clicking it or simply dragging it into the slot that it belongs. So we're going to do that, and you can see now we have our chest piece. The head or the helmet is going to affect the majority of the stats that will affect is your wisdom and intelligence. Your chest piece is going to affect your max health and strength. Your arms and legs will affect your dexterity and your agility, and your weapon will affect your base damage in general. Now those, and then your shield will be for your block and your protection stats. So if we go to our hero and we look at what we are faced with at the moment in terms of a strength hero, we can see on our stats on the left hand side, max health is at 175, max energy is at 103, strength is at 35, dexterity at 20, intelligence at 10, and we can see all the way down here the different player stats that we have available. Now I just want to take a moment with those player stats and introduce these to you so you understand them a little bit better. Because we have a strength hero, an intelligence hero, we have two intelligence heroes, and we have an agility hero. Alright, so if we have a quick look at the stats available, which you can see here, agility will increase your evasion and movement speed. So that's what you're going to focus on, evasion and movement speed. Dexterity will increase your evasion, but also your accuracy. So you have two stats here to increase your evasion. One also increases your movement speed, 1, your accuracy. Wisdom increases your max energy and your energy regen rate. So good for intelligence heroes. And that combined here with intelligence will increase your max energy and your magical damage attributes. And then we have strength, which is about increasing your maximum health and your non-magical damage. And finally, we have vitality, which is increasing your max health and your elemental resistance. Now, every class has a traditional build. If you're going for a strength hero, you'll typically be a tank. You'll be using strength weapons and armor, and you'll be maxing out your vitality and your strength, typically. But that being said, you can experiment. The beauty of this game is that you don't have to do the traditional builds. You could quite easily take an intelligence hero and build them out as a strength hero. Now, it's not going to be the same and you're going to have different base stats, but you can do this. It is possible. And that's the beauty of this game, is the freedom that you have. Now, one thing I want to note is that when we start with our basic pocket watch, it doesn't really do a lot. It's very basic. But as you start to expand and you start to explore, and I'm just going to show you this as an example. This is the difference between a common on the left here. You can see these two boxes that have shown up here. So the common on the left is your starter tier 1 level 1 pocket watch. And on the right is a tier 4. You can see inside the picture it says T4. This is a tier 4 pocket watch, and it's also legendary. So there are two different things to consider. There is the tier. Now the tier is affected by your rank. Your rank is your in-game character. As you play the game, you will level up your rank. The higher the rank of your character, the better the tier of pocket watch you can equip. So at the beginning, as a rank 1 hero who's starting the game, you can attach a tier 1 pocket watch. To be able to apply the next level, a tier 2 pocket watch, you would need to be rank 10. To apply a tier 3 pocket watch, you will need to be rank 20. A tier 4, you will need to be rank 30. And you can see that in the very top left hand corner of the screen, I am rank 32. So because I am rank 32, I can now apply a tier 4 pocket watch. And the base stats on a tier 4 common are much, much higher than that of a tier 1. Also, there are rarities. We have common all the way through to unique. So common, uncommon, we have rare, epic, legendary, we have mythic, we have exalted, we have exotic, we have transcendent, and we have unique. And so as you progress through the rarities, they also will have different skills. Now, this pocket watch, the legendary one, is quite a mouthful, but it's called the Mongoose-esque Fraying Time Warrior pocket watch of the Scholar and the Colossus and Wolf and Shouting. And you might think, what the hell does that mean? Well, these are the additional modifiers that come with this pocket watch. And you'll find many, many pocket watches throughout dungeons and vendors that you can buy. And they will always have different base statistics. So this is where it can be quite overwhelming, but to make it simple, all you need to know is that certain attributes do certain things. So for example, if we look here at the legendary pocket watch, you can see that the max health has two different modifiers. There is the item rolled bonus, and there is the wolf. Now, if you look in the name, it says at the bottom line, the Colossus and Wolf and Shouting. So the wolf in this legendary pocket watch gives me a plus 30 max health bonus. Because of the rolled bonus as well of the tier and the level of the pocket watch, I get another bonus. So I have plus 67 max health as standard with this pocket watch. We can also see, if we look down at strength, we've got the Colossus. In dexterity, we've got the Mongoose-esque. And in intelligence, we've got the Scholar. That gives me these additional stats above and beyond the base. Now, if you're looking for a strength hero, you really want to get a pocket watch that focuses on strength, max health, strength, vitality, all of these things that are going to boost your pocket watch are things that you want within a tank or a time warrior. So intelligence, the scholar, isn't necessarily a good item to have because we don't need intelligence in a strength hero. We want vitality and we want strength and max health, and those are the things we want. The dexterity as well is nice, but again, it's not required. It's the max energy is nice, but again, it's not required for a strength hero. So just take into consideration what you're building, your play style, and then what stats you need as a result of that. Now, also, on top of stats, there are also skills. Here, you'll see there are actually 2 skills which are unlocked. We have the Unstoppable Shout and Into the Fray. But there's also other things that are available, and these are specific to the different pocket watches. So on the left in the common there, we can see we have stats. There are 6 ability unlocks. We can also see there's Path of Fury. Okay, we can see there's Path of Auras, Path of Defense, the Time Warrior, and the Path of the Time Warrior. And these are all basics. These are all here as basics that can be unlocked. But additionally, in the legendary that we have here, there's Unstoppable Shout and Into the Fray, which are additional that have been unlocked here. Now, if you see a pocket watch that has really good stats, but doesn't quite have the skills that you want, don't worry, because you can add cogs or gears. As you acquire gears from vendors or throughout your raids, certain gears will unlock certain traits. So you'll need a Time Warrior gear that will give you the ability to do certain things. And so that's what you want to do. You want to be looking for the right pocket watch, which is the right tier, has the right skill tree, and then you want to be finding the right cogs. Aside from that, you can increase your stats in 2 other ways. One is by attaching items. So you can see here this chest piece gives me the max health of 1 and max energy of 1. I also get that from these other items, but these are junk items. So you might want to go back down to the shop or go into a dungeon and acquire more items that you can use to level up and change this. Alright, so that's everything to do with stats. And obviously that's a build that you can play with. Let's go and have a look at the skill trees. So the way that this works on the skill trees is every pocket watch will have different skill trees available. And every class, whether you're a Time Warrior or a Chronomancer, for example, will have different skills available. So these are the basic skills on a Time Warrior. We can see here we have Path of Fury. But in order to do this, we actually need to go and find someone. We need a trainer who can teach us this. And it says in the bottom left, find this trainer in the world and give him the items he requires in exchange for his knowledge. Well, the items required is going to be 1,000 gold. But we can also see that required is character level 5. So we actually need to progress to level 5 before we can even unlock this. Now I'll show you where these are in a moment so you can see them, but we have level 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So for example, if I wanted to unlock this Barbarian Shout, I would need 10 points in Barbarian Shout, and I would need 1 point in Path of Fury 5, which would need the trainer. And I can't do 5 until I've done 4, 3, 2, etc. down to 1. So this is a progression system to give me this. Once I have this with this skill at max level, it has a chance to add a cripple element stack to the targets who are affected by Shout. Each level of the skill will also increase mitigation. So you can see the different things that are available here, and specials unlock as well, it says here at level 3. So here they'll get a bleed stack duration for 5 seconds, bleed stack minimum damage, and bleed stack maximum damage. So you can really see the damage that can be done here at level 3 with this Barbarian Shout. Barbarian Shout being a very powerful item within this game, and as we can see here, if we look on the skill tree, I can't get this until my character is level 2. So I need to level up this pocket watch. Not the rank. The rank is your personal player profile, and the character is the time watch. So the pocket watch that I have at the moment, this character is a Time Warrior. Every pocket watch is a different character, and you can play multiple characters. So here we can see what this item is good against. It's an enemy will have 4 levels of resistance. There's their basic health, or their HP. They then can also have armor on top of their health. They can have a shield on top of their armor, and they can have a barrier protecting everything, and that is going to be purple, blue, you'll see that as yellow and red. So they're the 4 different colors. So we can see here, this sends a shockwave emanating from the warrior, dealing damage and stunning nearby enemies. The stun is vital on this barbarian shout. It's one of the best abilities for this hero. You get right up and personal in a horde, stun them all, and the team can then finish them off with AoE spells. You can also see all of the differences between the different levels. So you can scale this to level 10. You see the difference you get as a result. And so this is your skill tree. And if you're building out a tank, typically what you'll look for is Barbarian Shout, because this is good. Taunt, eventually. You'll want Lesser Rage, and you'll want Whirlwind. But in order to get Whirlwind, you'll need to unlock this. So you're going to need to unlock your Blood Spray Aura, and some other talents as well. So this, for a time, dealing melee damage to weapons, will heal nearby allies. Not you, though. So just be aware of what these things do. I personally wouldn't bother with Warrior Kick. I don't find it necessarily useful. Rend is good, especially if you're fighting somebody who has a barrier. You can remove their barrier, but it's pretty useless against shields, armor, or health. So you need this later in the game, not at the start. So I would focus on maxing out your Barbarian Shout. I would focus on Lesser Rage, and then I would work towards your Whirlwind. That would be what I would start with. At the point, you're going to need to get some Blood Spray Aura and probably Taunt as well. Now, the other thing to mention on this screen is your player stats. As mentioned before, there are 6 different types of stats, and your pocket watch plus your items will change your player stats. But as you progress, you'll get these additional points that you can come and add into here to kind of get you over the edge. If you're missing some points to equip an item, then this can be something that can help you. And again, for this type of skill build, you'll be wanting to focus on strength, vitality, and dexterity. You don't really need to worry about agility, wisdom, or intelligence. So this is pretty much the Time Warrior. The other skills which are available, and we'll talk about those now. I'm just going to look at the passive tree to show you this. This is different. The passive tree is not connected to the pocket watch. This means that if you skill this, it will be available across all pocket watches. Okay, so these are things like your ability to carry more materials, your ability to carry more items, even your ability to carry additional pocket watches, as well as your down but not out. If you want to do things like that, you can look into it, and increasing your Fog of War reveal. So different things, and that's within dungeons. Different things on the passive tree skill, but we're just focusing now on the pocket watch. Okay, so coming back into the game, we've done this now with our items here. You can see that. We're going to move across here now. We're going to look at the Shadow Blade. Okay, so this is going to be the Shadow Blade. If we click on the Shadow Blade and we come back to our inventory, you can see we've now got these items. Now, if you see this, I cannot equip a junk chest piece for a Shadow Blade on here. It won't work. And the reason it's red is because I don't have enough dexterity. Now, I could go and add a point in dexterity just to be able to add this. In fact, I would need to add 9 points. But the reason I can't do this is because I'm not a dexterity hero traditionally, and so I won't be able to apply dexterity items without putting effort into the items and the skill tree. So what I can do instead is change my timeline, and I can go for my Shadow Blade. Now, as a result of doing this, if I go back to my inventory, I can equip these items without needing to change anything. And the reason for this is because I am a dexterity-based hero, so I can now apply these. As you can see, I only need a strength of 2, and I only need agility of 2, but I need dexterity of 29. So each character has their own item sets. Now here you're going to see my strength is lower than that of the tank, but my dexterity and my agility are now higher. Okay, so that being said, you'll understand how that works. Let's go across to the skill tree and look at the basic skill tree here. So what we're going to be interested here is Ninja Leap. Ninja Leap is a fantastic skill for you to be able to move forward or even get out of a fight. Just be careful you don't Ninja Leap to your death, because that happens. Also, with this skill, if you are running, so you sprint, you Ninja Leap, and if you time it right, you jump, you can do what is in the kind of Call of Duty world known as a slide cancel. It's a way of moving around the map much faster, and even though it has a cooldown, it allows you to boost yourself to go much further, much faster. So just bear that in mind. Rend shielding, this actually is a different type of rend. Whereas the Time Warrior is good against barriers, the rend shielding on the Shadow Blade is good against shields. Quite good early on. Would recommend getting this to help your team out. Backstab, typically this used to be one of this character's best items. It's not really that good at the moment. It's a bit awkward to use. The mechanics aren't great. You would need to have Shadow Meld as well to be able to go invisible, to be able to get behind the enemy, or you'd need to trap them. Because this used to be a trapping hero that would use traps to hold people in place, to root them, and then you can do things to them. But in this, if something aggroes onto you and you try and spin around to get behind it, typically it's going to follow you around. You're not going to get behind it. And the dash at the moment, if you use Ninja Leap, you'll fly off too far, and the dashes don't really get you behind. So it's really difficult to use Backstab at the moment. The best way to use it is with Shadow Meld. Shadow Meld also, an additional feature of this, if you've got an enemy that's been knocked and they're down but not out, you go Shadow Meld, you can walk through the enemy invisible to heal them and to revive them. So very, very good as a way to, in a clutch situation when you're overwhelmed, pick up a hero that's down. Traps, I don't really use at the moment. You can level up your traps to be able to do this. But what I like to focus on with this hero at the moment is shurikens. So shurikens and also explosive kunai are ranged items that you can get to do ranged and explosive damage. Really, really nice to have these at the moment. I don't really find ignition powder that good. Maybe it is, but this basically allows you to coat your enemy with ignition powder, lowering their resistance to the next fire-based attack. So you would need to coat them in this, which is got a small AoE, and then a fire attack to be able to do additional damage. Shadow Blast is pretty cool. It's basically an AoE damage in very short range, but it does allow to do some additional damage. So Shadow Blast can be good to have, as well as the ranged items as well that you can have there. So different passives and different things that you can have here. Evasion, poison, or even rot, things that can be added as well to this hero. I used to play this hero a lot. I don't really anymore. I'm not enjoying his class at the moment. It feels like it needs some buffs and some work, but that is your Shadow Blade. Alright, so moving away from this to the next option we have here, and this is going to be your Medic. This is going to be your Quantum Fixer. So we're going to go ahead. It's a bit laggy on the servers at the moment. That's something the team are aware of. They are fixing. You just need to bear with it whilst it's in early access. So if you see the rubber banding, that's what that is. It's a bit frustrating, but we know and we understand. Okay, so Quantum Fixer, moving across. Quantum Fixer, going to focus on intelligence more than anything. Also uses a shield, uses a Quantum Fixer hammer mainly, which is a one-handed weapon. And this is your hero. Has a lot of energy, max energy, and also, as you can see, wisdom. And it has low intelligence, but has high wisdom. But intelligence is definitely something you might want to consider as you're building out this hero. This hero focuses on healing abilities. So here you'll see you've got your heal aura. So this allows you to summon a floating drone with a healing aura. And the drone will seek out friendlies who need it the most. And it will be able to heal them. The next thing you're going to look at here is a light heal. This is a hero where you'll be able to focus on the allies that you've got that are damaged, and you'll be able to use light in an area and you'll be able to fix them. So if you want to be able to do this with your support class to support your team, you're going to want to focus on what you're building out. So Heal Beam, this is an instant beam that will heal any ally that passes through it. So it takes a bit of skill to use this, but these are definitely things that you can do to be able to help to build up your hero and your team. And I would say at the moment, the way that this game is played, you absolutely need a healer in your team, specifically for the higher level dungeons. A healer, a good healer with good skills can save and turn a team fight most of the time. The ability to revive as well is another really powerful skill. An instant revive is something you should do. So if you have a downed ally, you can instant revive them without having to go and pick them up. So picking up the instant revive, absolutely recommended. Picking up your healing drones. And if you get the opportunity, picking up the fortified gate. Fortified gate, this is a gateway where if a friendly passes through it, they'll get a bonus as a result of that. And as you level up your gates, you'll also get energy gates. You'll be able to get healing gates. And so having the gates, having the aura drones, having the instant revive, having the healing beam, all of these are, and the chain as well, the chain heal, are really, really, really good abilities for a support class to allow you to keep your team alive. So you really want to have, at the bare minimum, a time warrior and a quantum fixer. At the bare minimum. You can have up to 6 players, and an ideal squad would be 2 time warriors, a chronomancer, a shadow blade, and 2 healers. That would be the ideal squad. Or if you only wanted 1 healer because they're really good, you could go for 2 chronomancers. So 2 chronomancers, 2 time warriors, 1 shadow blade. I would even say you could bypass the shadow blade and go 2 time warriors, 2 chronomancers, and 2 healers. That would be a very, very powerful unit to be able to fight at the moment, and the team would be pretty much unstoppable. And so you'll be able to fight levels far beyond your capability with a well-rounded team. Okay, so moving across to the final, which is the Chronomancer. One of my favorite at the moment. This is a very fun hero to play. So we're going to go ahead and change our timeline one more to the Chronomancer. This is a ranged hero. Doesn't really do a lot of ranged damage, if I'm honest. Not at the early starts, but uses a staff, two-handed staff. And if we go ahead and we can see here, we've got intelligence and vitality, but wisdom's actually quite low. Now, I would argue that your max energy and your energy recovery speed are very important here. So I would focus, with a Chronomancer, I would focus on building out your wisdom. I think that is very important. If we go across to the skill tree, you're going to be able to see here, you have a minor fireball and a minor frostball. These are what you can do. You've only got 1 skill point, but these are 2 items you can get to start. Your base damage from right-clicking isn't very good at the start, so you will need to use skills, and a fireball and a frostball are very, very good in those early levels. Also, Frost Nova, you've got another rend here. This one, again, different. This one works on armor. Your Frost Nova is really good as well, and your Fire Blast. And then you want to work towards your Summon Ally Portal, because this is an incredible skill. The price of a town portal right now is so expensive, and if you're in a dungeon or you go back to town, you can then summon your team. Your team will absolutely love you for this. You can be the one who saves all the gold, so the team don't need to spend it, because rather than people sending ports, you can just port them. So absolutely, for a team-based item, summon allies, just be the good guy and do that. Everyone's going to love you for it. No one will ever thank you for it, but they will be grateful. So that's it. All of the things that you can do. Now, I will do a separate video talking about items, but there are far, far too many items to go through in this game to be able to cover that in this video. And again, remember, the different pocket watches that you pick up are going to give you different abilities. And so you really want to make sure you're going into the dungeons, maybe not these prestige ones, but going into the dungeons and picking up those items and making sure that you don't just pick up everything. If you do pick up everything, it's because you're going to sell it at the shop. But making sure that the items that are valuable for your hero, or the hero you can also play, because you can pick an item up, swap it onto another pocket watch. And that item, if I go back into my inventory, here, you can see here that this item, if I put this here, this item, if I then go and change to another, so let's go to a Shadow Blade, you'll see if I go to my inventory, it's still here. But what you'll also see is there are no bags attached. Now if I go back to, let's just say for example, my Time Warrior, as an example here. Now my Time Warrior in my inventory has 2 bags attached. Okay, this one is a small bag, has a few items, and same here. If I change over to my starter pocket watch, and I go back to my inventory, there are 2 different bags with different items. So the bags that are attached are only used for that pocket watch. Everything else here above is for your character, and this can be swapped. So if I have this item in this backpack and I swap pocket watches, I won't see this item. Now that means you can use the different pocket watches for the bags as additional storage. If I'm in a raid and I'm in a spot that allows me to change pocket watches, I can take those items, I can swap it so that the right items are with the right hero. And then anything additional, I can go to the market and sell for additional gold later. So just some things to consider there. Go and enjoy the game, level yourself up. Ideally, if you're going to be playing this, I recommend, well, personally I would recommend using your starter pocket watch and leveling up to level 20. It is very easy and very quick to get to level 20. Once you get there, the grind from level 20 to level 30 is considerably longer. At level 20, you can apply a tier 3 pocket watch. So keep your basic pocket watch, get to level 20, and then swap your basic pocket watch for a tier 3. As you can see here, I've got a tier 3 here. So now if I go ahead and I change this, let's just swap this out. You'll now see if I go and change to my basic level 1 starter pocket watch. Okay, this is my starter pocket watch. And then if I was to swap this out for my tier 3, which is actually a rare, I just want you to look at the difference. So right now on the left, you can see my max melee damage modifier is +10. And it's the same on the rare, it's the same, it's +10. But I also get some additional bonuses. I get a max health, +30. I get +80 max energy. And that's because of brilliance, which is part of the watch itself. But I also get dexterity, I get agility, which is from the item. So +51 agility as opposed to +20. So I'm getting additional 31 agility points just by using a tier 3 that's rare. And so just bear in mind that when you take into consideration your starter items, they're not very good. When you get to tier 3, which is at level 20, you do go back to level 1 with that pocket watch. So then you're going to need to be able to build that back up again. It's much quicker the second time round because the stats are better. You'll level quicker. So getting from level 1 to level 20, you can do that in 1 or 2 sessions. Then you'll reset back to level 1. You'll do it again, but this time with a tier 3, but you'll do it much quicker. Whereas before it would take maybe 1 to 2 gaming sessions, this time it will take half to 1. Much quicker. And then you can use the tier 3 to level you up all the way until you reach level 40. And at that point, when you're rank 40, you can look to get a tier 6. Oh, sorry, you'll be able to get, a tier 5, I think. That's what you want to be focusing on. At the moment, at level 30, I've got a tier 4. So at level 40, it should be tier 5. At level 50, it should be tier 6. So I think what you'll be able to do here is use tier 3 and then tier 6. And that would be my recommendation for you moving forward. Okay, good luck. Have fun.